Today we will talk about a topic that is not as interesting as the previous ones, as it revolves a lot of technical aspects, but it's necessary for the success of a complete intelligent marketing content strategy. So could you share a little bit more with us how you found the platform that you're using to distribute your messaging, and how you filter through the different options out there and find the right fit for you?
When Martin and I first started with the Hong Kong Visa Centre, our default position was just to go and buy a $10 template website, and then we built the Hong Kong Visa Handbook around a template website. We didn't build it on WordPress, and we built Hong Kong Visa Centre around a template website because if I remember properly, we paid $30 for a subscription to this site, and it was an annual subscription, and you could use as many designs as you wanted. So we settled on one design, and our previous websites were built on that sort of technology, which wasn't WordPress. So I think we ran with that for about a year and a half or so, and as I did more and more reading, and as I came to understand the need to have an ID virus and the development of the Hong Kong Visa Geezer blog, to build a third website really, which was the daily content update site, which I hadn't realised I needed when I first started. But as the reading came in, I realised that I needed it, and at that time I became more and more appraised of WordPress as a technology. So we decided to build Visa Geezer on WordPress. So that was our first WordPress site. Then after that was over, Martin immediately said, "Oh, wait a minute, we've got to now rebuild Centre and Handbook on WordPress as well," which he did. And it was only really then, once we'd transferred everything over into the WordPress platform, did we then have an opportunity to say, well, actually WordPress gives us all these opportunities to do things, in terms of manipulating content and publishing and syndicating, and it was just a really powerful engine. So the platform idea ultimately was driven by the experience that we'd had to build Visa Geezer on WordPress. By this time we were up to, across all three websites, probably 300 pieces of content altogether, a little bit more maybe. So that gave us the ability to start thinking about how we put our presence out on social media. So we had to think about best way to get our content published into Facebook and amplified via Twitter, and what we could do via LinkedIn, even though there wasn't that many early publishing opportunities on LinkedIn. It took a while to sort of put Pulse and the follower type dynamic to be built into the tech. So incrementally, because we had this content and we were publishing it on a regular basis, and WordPress was giving us the ability to think about how we could be efficient with this technology. And we were, every day getting a little bit bigger. All of a sudden you realise you've now got a platform. You weren't thinking about it as a platform. What you're doing is you're thinking about it as perhaps 300 separate efforts at producing content that just happens to build up over time and then get cited all in one place. And then social media now means you can propagate it into those other channels, and then really your platform just emerges organically. But the real problem that we had with that, as we've discussed before, was early days link building and how could we get traffic. So we bought that traffic through Google Ads, such as it was. Very limited in the early days, but we did it, and we started to gain a little bit of traction. If we'd have had a smarter way to immediately target a really good piece of content that I developed at that day that was going to be put onto our platform, say the Hong Kong Visa Handbook, if I'd have had a way to be able to think, right, I've developed that piece of content, but right now, irrespective of the role that it plays in the long-term content platform that we're laying down through our continuing publish efforts, if I had a way to take that piece of content and then immediately be able to target it in a cost-effective manner into, with a laser-like focus into the psychology of someone who I know right now needed to know what that content was all about, because I knew that piece of content would deliver value to that particular person who was facing that particular problem at that time. If I'd had the means to be able to do that, I would have, been spending just as much effort on not only building my platform content, but thinking, how can I immediately monetize this piece of content? Today we've got ClickFunnels. And the beauty of ClickFunnels is that not only does it give you the ability to leverage the content that you're developing for the platform and turn it into a revenue opportunity straight away, but the ClickFunnels technologies are sort of spent, I think it's built on about 10 years of experience that represented the fragmented way of trying to solve the problem that I encountered when I first started building my platform. So because ClickFunnels has had all that experience and has engineered a solution, and not only is it technical engineering, but it's all the psychology of the sale. It's the dynamic of how you take your message or your proposition into the party that you want to communicate it to, but you do it in a staged way that accords with the natural dynamics of how that person would want to be communicated with. So today, if you're starting out with an intelligent content marketing strategy, yes, you have to think about the long-term content platform that you put down, but that's just a strategy, right? It's applying that strategy. Today, you have to do that. You should be doing that. But the content that you develop in pursuit of that can immediately be utilized here, applied in ClickFunnels, propagated through social media, and you can pick up relationships. And remember, it's about having the conversations. Out of those conversations come the relationships. Now those relationships comes, commercial opportunities. So you can do that now. Russell Brunson has basically consolidated in one place the solution to the problem that I encountered all those years ago that I didn't have a fix for then, but now it's available. And it's really very much the existence of ClickFunnels that was the catalyst to me determining to build the Intelligent Content Marketing Mentorship site, because I don't want this material just to be a talking shop. I want this material to be immediately actionable and convertible into revenue opportunities for everybody who comes across it. Because there's enough information out there on the internet that basically tells you to do the kind of stuff that we're suggesting. It's not focused in the way that we've focused it on the basis of the concept of intelligent content marketing as we've defined it. But it's like there's all these diamonds out there laying on the beach in the sand, right? They're there, but you're going to have to find them. You've got to dig in them, and you're just not quite sure exactly, what sort of outcome you're going to get from that exercise. Now with ClickFunnels, you don't have to worry about that. It's plug and play. Your effort as a marketeer, so to speak, is really just limited to, developing the content you're going to develop anyway, which is showcasing of your expertise. And then taking that expertise down a path in the technology that's all worked out for you, plug and play, little bit of thinking, clicks, and you're done. I wish I had that. I think if we'd have had that 6 years ago, we'd have achieved our revenue objectives a lot faster. And of course, not only are you forging relationships in that fashion, but you're creating the opportunity to drive people back to your content platform anyway. So it's a virtuous circle.